Hi, thank you for being here. In the earlier modules, we built the foundations, what these tools are, how they fail, how to keep your patients and yourself safe. Today we get practical and we answer the question I get asked more than any other. Which one should I use? ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, or something else? And here's the answer that changes everything, and I will say it plainly from the start. The skilled user does not pick one AI and marry it. They keep 3 or 4 and they reach for the right one for the task in front of them. Think about how you already work. You would not reach for the same single instrument for every job in your day. You choose the tool that fits the task. AI is exactly the same. Each of these models is like a brilliant, fast, widely read junior colleague, but they have grown up with different strengths. The way colleagues develop different areas of depth. The skill is knowing which colleague to walk over to for which question. So today you will leave with 3 things. A simple framework that makes every one of these models give you a better answer, a clear sense of which model to reach for which job, and a couple of features that turn one of them into something that genuinely works the way you do. One honest disclaimer first. What these tools were good for even a year or 2 ago is very different from what they can do today. They keep leapfrogging each other. So this is not a permanent ranking of who is best. It is a way of thinking about matching tools to tasks which will outlast whichever model is ahead for that month. Before we compare the models, we have to fix the thing that makes all of them disappoint people, because here's what I see constantly. 2 groups of colleagues. The first group treats the AI like a smarter Google. They start typing and they go back and forth until eventually something useful falls out. It works, but it is slow and frustrating. The second group has given up entirely. They got ridiculous answers, or they hated the endless back and forth, and they decided the whole thing is not for them. If you are in either group, you do not have an AI problem. You have a prompt engineering problem, and it is completely fixable. Prompt engineering in plain terms just means making your first input good enough that you get a good output the first time, instead of chatting your way there over 20 messages. With Google, you type a few words and then you do the searching. With these models, you engineer the request and the model does the work. Let me give you the framework that I use. 3 letters, ACO, actor, context, output. Actor, A is for actor. Remember the picture from our earlier modules. The AI is a generalist, an intern who knows a little about everything. Ask an intern any question and you get a very general answer, because that is what a generalist gives. So imagine the most experienced person you would actually want to answer that specific question, and tell the model to be that person. A complex childhood diabetes question, you would want a pediatric and endocrinologist, so say so. A diagnostic puzzle where the signs do not fit, you would want a neurologist. Give the model the persona of the most expert version of the person you would take that question to, and the whole answer lifts. C is for context. The model has no context unless you give it. None. It does not know where you work, what you have, or what you're trying to do. You feed it the data points that make the answer yours. Ask equipment you need for a particular bedside procedure, and it will give you a best practice list with no idea that you're in a resource-limited setting. Add that one detail and watch it tailor the list to what you actually have. Or studying, what should I know about this condition? Gives a vague answer. I'm preparing for my final board exams with my country's examining body, and I want what I need to know on this topic at the level expected of me. Gives a completely different, far more useful one. The more relevant context you give, the better the output. O is for output. This is where most people get frustrated because they never said what they wanted. So tell the expert what format you need. Managing an emergency at the bedside, ask for something short and practical. Quick, next steps. Studying, ask for case-based questions of increasing difficulty with a model answer after each. Same question, but the output you specified determines whether the answer is usable. And here's why I'm teaching this before we even compare the models. ACO plus the clarifying question works on every one of them. ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, whatever comes next. Master it once and every tool in your hands gets sharper. Now to the models themselves, each matched to what it does best. We start with ChatGPT, and its standout strength for me is something many people never use, the voice function. You can have a real spoken back and forth conversation with it. That makes it the best of the three for one thing in particular, practicing out loud. Think about why that matters. So much of what we do is spoken under pressure. The exam viva, the interview panel, explaining a diagnosis to a frightened patient or family, and almost nobody practices those out loud beforehand. They practice in their head, which is nothing like the real thing. Interview practice. Have it act as a panel. Ask one question at a time, let you answer out loud, then give feedback and a model answer, getting progressively harder. You rehearse speaking, not typing. Exam practice. Spoken, viva, and oral simulation, OSCE style questions, recall out loud, and talking through confusing topics. Ask it to explain something hard in simple terms. Then just keep talking. Simpler. Explain it like I'm a student. Give me an analogy. A conversation, not a wall of texts. Next, Gemini, which I reach for in two situations the others do less well. Generating images. The first is creating images. For teaching, this is genuinely useful. A clear diagram for a slide, a simple visual for a patient education leaflet, an infographic for a health promotion message. Instead of hunting for a picture that almost fits, you describe what you need and it makes it. Research and staying current. The second is research. Gemini is built into the Google ecosystem, so it is strong at reaching out for current information across the web. Useful for when you want recent developments, a quick scan of what is out there, or to stay current in a fast-moving area. Now to the one I lean on the most for the heavy lifting, Claude, because of two things: how it reasons and how completely you can make it yours. It works the problem before it gives up. Here's the real difference you feel almost immediately. A general chatbot, when it hits a stumbling block, tends to stop. It gives you a shallow answer or simply tells you it cannot do the thing. Claude behaves more like a determined junior colleague. When it hits an obstacle, it tries to figure it out or a way around it before it ever tells you it can't. It reasons through the problem. So let me show you what I mean. Suppose I hand it a long, messy guideline document and say, turn this into one page teaching summary and a separate plain language patient handout. Watch what happens when it hits friction. If the document is in an awkward format it cannot read directly, it does not stop and say, I cannot open that. It finds another way in. It converts the file, puts the text out, and keeps going toward what I actually asked for. If one step fails, it tries a different route. It keeps the goal in view. Projects. A project is a workspace that holds your context, your documents, your protocols, your preferred formats, your standing instructions, so that every conversation inside it already knows your background. You stop re-explaining yourself from scratch every single time. Picture it. You create a project and in it you put the things you always have to re-explain. Your unit's protocols, the way you like your letters structured, the reading level you write patient materials at. From then on, every task you start in that format begins from that context. The referral letter comes out in your format. The patient handout comes out at your reading level. You step it up once, it pays you back on every task after that. Instructions. So the third piece goes even further. Most of these tools have a custom instruction feature, a place where you tell the model once who you are and how you want it to respond, your tone, your formats, your constraints, your level. Then every answer is shaped to you without you asking. And here's a clever trick to fill that in fast, which I really like. You have probably been using one model the most for many people, that is ChatGPT. Go to it and ask it to describe everything it knows about you. It has been learning your patterns this whole time, so it will produce a surprisingly full picture. Then take that description, rewrite it in the first person, and paste it in your Claude instructions. Now the model responds as though it has known and worked with you for years. Every answer is individualized, pitched at your level in your preferred format with your way of working already assumed. It is the closest thing to a colleague who knows exactly how you like things done. And for the learning, that gets its own module. There's one major use I have only touched on, and that is using these tools to genuinely learn, not to do the work for you, but to teach you, test you, and explain things at exactly your level. It is one of the most powerful things you can do with AI. And the personalization we just covered makes it a tutor that already knows where you are. But it deserves a full session of its own, so I'm not going to rush it here. We cover it properly in module Learning with AI, not cheating with it. For now, just hold the thought. The same tool you use to get work done can also be the patient teacher who brings you up to speed on your terms. So, whichever model you reach for, the same 4 guardrails travel with you quickly because you know them by now. Privacy first, de-identify everything. Never paste identifiable patient information into any of these tools, not into a chat, not into a project, and not into instruction field. Verify what matters. They can be wrong, confidently wrong, and they can invent references. For anything clinical, academic, or legal, trust but check against the source. Know the bias. They are trained largely on data from high income settings, so give them your local context rather than assuming they have it. Judgment is non-delegatable. They draft, structure, and summarize. They do not diagnose your patient, decide treatment, or carry that responsibility. That stays with you. And here's the whole module in one small map. The answer to which one do I use? And underneath all of them, 3. ACO, actor, context, output, plus the clarifying question. The framework that makes every one of them better. So let me bring it home. The real skill here is not loyalty to one tool. It's fluency across several and the judgment to reach for the right one for the right task. Practicing out loud with one, making visuals and researching with another, doing the heavy reasoning and automation with a third. The specific models will keep changing and keep overtaking each other. The way of thinking you have built today will not. So here's your challenge for this week. 3 small things. First, rewrite one prompt using ACO before you send it. Second, try a model you don't normally use. Third, set up one project or one custom instruction so a tool starts to actually know you. And the reason I do any of this is simple, and it is the same thread running through every module. Not to do less of the work, but to spend more of the time on the part of the work that only a clinician can do. The judgment, the bedside, the human in front of me. Everything I hand the machine is time I get back for that.